the first time in 8 months he's had a press conference, and maybe he was a little rusty. He had his normal gaffes, but keep in mind, he kept saying, I got 14 million primary votes. I have all the money. Even if there's other people that can beat Donald Trump, but not at this point. You really can't turn around and do anything. I think it's a worse scenario for Democrats because he was Joe Biden.
Yeah, he was.
He had normal gaffes. He's had gaffes for the last 20, 30 years. And this time he was able to answer most of the questions. And they're going to be sending out, obviously, the Vladimir Putin thing is a big thing, saying Donald Trump was his running mate is relatively different, more than I was expecting. But the rest of the stuff he answered. So he has every reason to think that he can stay.
It was just bizarre. I mean, there were times where he whispered. There were times he yelled, look there, he's clearing his throat. He cleared his throat a bunch. He said he would start, and then he'd lose his train of thought and say, well, anyway, and then start another thought. It was just very bizarre. And right out of the gate, just like the debate, he made the gaffe and said Donald Trump was his vice president, and he wouldn't have picked her if she weren't qualified.
Well, he knew exactly who to call on, as Mark alluded to. Watch this.
He misgendered.
I'll take your questions. I've been given a list of people to call on here.
There's been reporting that you've acknowledged that you need to go to bed earlier and your evening around 8.
That's not true. Look, what I said was, instead of my every day starting at 7 and going to bed at midnight, it'd be smarter for me to pace myself a little more. I love my staff, but they add things all the time. At the very end, I'm catching hell from my wife for that. Anyway, I'm not having any of my European allies come up to me and say, Joe, don't run. What I hear them say is, you've got to win. I'm surrounded by good docs. If they think there's a problem, I promise you, or even if they don't think it's a problem, they think I should have a neurological exam again, I'll do it. I believe I'm the best qualified to govern. And I think I'm the best qualified to win. But there are other people who could beat Trump too. But it's awful start from scratch.
Earlier you misspoke in your opening answer. You referred to Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump. Right now, Donald Trump is using that to mock your age and your memory. How do you combat that criticism from tonight?
Listen to him.
I mean, it's incredible. He essentially, the reporter asked a question about him changing his schedule because he needs more downtime. And he says, well, that's not true. Right. And then right after, he confirms the report and says, well, it's actually a different time frame. It's actually 8 o'clock because we need more time.
Does anyone think he's working from 7 to midnight?
There's no way. And then he confirms the part of Jill Biden being upset with the staff, and he says, I'm catching hell from my wife.
He has to blame someone for why he's exhausted and why he's making this gaffes. It's easy just to say, it's my staff. They're adding too much to my staff.
Bad briefers.
Yeah.
He's not just catching hell from his wife, he's catching hell from Democrats. And, you know, Brian, you're absolutely right. It wasn't a great performance, but it was solid. And so this purgatory, this limbo continues for Democrats.
Explain why it's the purgatory.
Well,
because he did so bad on the first
they
day.
wanted him to
Before you get to
blow
heaven, you go to this holding area.
Well,
I don't believe that. Some people believe that.
Well, in the Catholic Church, if you
That's what I thought you were asking.
if you die with a sin on your soul, then you go to purgatory. It's
all right,
complicated. This is not the time to go into that.
Said this is the reason. The first hour, y'all said he did so bad in the first debate, but they're in purgatory because last night wasn't horrible.
Right.
So they're in a pickle.
Right.
There were a number of Democrats who wanted him to suck, and he did not suck as much as they were hoping because then they could all come out. CBS has got a story that Mark alluded to that apparently dozens of Democrats, it's going to be a coordinated thing. They're going to come out in the next 48 hours, and they're going to say, Joe has got to go. Axios actually has got a great...
He just ruined the surprise.
Yeah, there you go. Axios has got a great piece this morning, and it talks about, you've got Nancy Pelosi talking on the phone last night to Barack Obama. What do we do? There are a number of Democrats, top Democrats, working behind the scenes to try to get Joe to go. And Axios refers to them as the committee to unelect the president. And the whole idea is to get him out the sooner the better. The CBS thing says that those Democrats think that he could be gone by the middle of next week, which is the RNC. And apparently, according back to Axios, there are some major donors who've got some gigantic non-Biden money ready. And the nominee would not necessarily be Kamala Harris, but instead it would be two people most likely to win one of three states: Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. And Axios says they're going to be ruthless. They're going to figure out what ticket could win one of those states, and that will be the ticket.
This is amazing because he's made it very clear that he's not getting it. He's very defiant. And that
Not his choice.
The Democrats.
Yes, it is. He's
and
got
the
all the delegates.
Exactly, Brian.
Well, he said he could release them.
The thing is,
they could vote their
the thing is,
conscience.
The Democrats in the media, and I don't think a Republican has ever had an advantage like this. They've become the opposition research team now. All of these comments that they're making about him being unfit and needing to pass the torch are going to be aired in ads. Donald Trump is going to grab all of this stuff. So they better make peace now because it's going to happen now.
All right.
He's going to be the nominee.
So the president
We
did a
still have that dollar.
We do.
The president did a pre-taped interview in Milwaukee.
Yes, so this was with the Earl Ingram show, and it aired on July 3rd. Well, then Civic Media launched an investigation because they heard, which was 5 days later, they launched this investigation. They heard that some of the taped interview was not included in the full interview, which aired on July 3rd. So they investigated this, and the radio station, it turns out, did remove two parts of the interview with President Biden.
At the request of,
At the request, sorry, that's the big story.
at the request of the White House. And here's what the Earl Ingram show said. On Monday, July 8th, it was reported to Civic Media Management that immediately after the phone interview was recorded, the Biden campaign called and asked for two edits in the recording before it aired. Civic Media Management immediately undertook an investigation that determined that the production team at the time viewed the edits as non-substantive and broadcast and published the interview with two short segments removed. In the interest of transparency and consistent with Civic Media's mission, we are sharing the edited segments now and making the full unedited interview available. And the portions have to do with how many blacks served for him and what the Central Park Five and Donald Trump have to do with each other because he destroyed that story.
Well, if it didn't matter, then why did you guys take it out?
Because the White House is intimidated.
If
White House wanted
it must not be true.
The statement is nonsense. If it did not matter, if it did not contribute to the conversation, if it wasn't going to make the president look bad, why did you cut it out? Here's a portion of it.
In addition to that, I have more blacks in my administration than any other president, all of the presidents combined, and major positions, cabinet positions.
Well, because it was a lie.
Well, so the White House said, could you take that out? And they said yes. Remember, it was just last week that one of those radio reporters, there were two radio reporters, he was one of them. They both got a list of approved by the White House questions that you could ask the president, and they both agreed to it. This guy, his station's standing behind him. But the other station fired that poor woman. And I'm surprised somebody last night didn't say, hey, Mr. President, did you apologize to the woman who lost her show on that radio station because she simply followed your request, your White House Communications Department request, to only ask you questions off this list?
She thought some of the questions were good. She said she used, I think, 4 of them. Is that right?
She got to pick them.
Here's what the Biden campaign said in their statement following up. Hosts have always been free to ask the questions and air the segments they will best inform their listeners. But they did take out, we didn't air the part when he said Central Park 5, Donald Trump said hang him or whatever, which he never said. So if you feel as one way of surviving a fact check is take out the statements that are wrong.
Exactly right.
After you've said it. So I'm not sure how long they've been doing this, but if anyone's out there that feels as though the White House has pressured them to take things out, speak up.
Well, if I had to guess, and I don't know this for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if the cost of admission for doing an interview with the president is we'll let you talk to the president, but you've got to ask him these questions.
But you know who's curious about this now? CNN.
Everybody.
They are so curious about anything that goes on with the president's intellect is as if they've been in hibernation for 3 years.
That's right.
Now they suddenly go, wait, the president seems old.
Well, this is cover our tail moment now within the media. I think the American people are so frustrated. We're going to go to editorial later on in the program.
That gives us props.
Where they said that they should have been listening to Fox News.
Can you believe that? Washington Post said that. I don't think it's just covering the tail, though, Lawrence. I agree with you on some of that, but I think it's because they see that Donald Trump is going to win if he runs against Biden.
That's a good
so
point,
now
too.
they're saying, we've got to change. Now he's old.
That's
Right.
We notice it now.
Word
Right.
came down.
Yeah.
We'll get to that editorial from the WAPO in a moment, but first,
More on purgatory a little bit later.
Yeah, how do you
during the
get-
commercial.
I want to know, how do you get out of purgatory?
Right, I'm going to tell you.
it takes a while.
I'm going to tell you.
It's a little
Takes a while.
complicated.
Yeah,
Our religious
you got to
scholar.
know somebody in heaven.
There you go. Listen, all
I'll
these
get you in.
Take
I'll
that
get
guy
you
out
in,
of
Brian.
Take the guy third in the line behind
Yeah.
the rope.
Listen,
bring him up.
We'll call Mrs. Ducey. Mrs. Ducey was a CCD teacher.
Okay.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhardt. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.